Hi, I'm Pete. Welcome to my channel. Today we're in the workshop and we're going to do a quick review of the Makita cordless router. We're going to do some cuts and we're going to see if it lives up to the hype. So let's get started and let's have some fun. This is the Makita LXT 18-volt cordless router. I bought this a couple of months ago off Amazon. I bought this as the tool-only option. Here's what came with it in the box. In addition to the tool itself, it came with this edge guide, 2 wrenches, one for the shaft and one for the collet, and a template guide. Note, in this configuration, the router does not come with a battery. This router utilizes LXT 18-volt batteries. More on that later. Let's see how the template guide mounts. Step 1 is to remove the 4 screws holding in the base plate. The template guide slips into a recess in the base. Once the template guide is seated firmly, reinstall the base plate and all 4 screws, and you're ready to go. The straight edge guide, which comes included with the router, mounts to the side of the base. It's held in place by tightening a thumb screw. This is not the best design in the world. I find the thumb screw a little difficult to loosen and tighten. The edge guide is adjusted by a thumb screw on its side. This worked very well. Now that we're familiar with all the parts, let's grab a battery and let's put this router through its paces. I have a 5 amp hour battery, so that's what I'll be using. The router base is adjusted and held in place by a spring lever clamp. There's a thumb screw and gear on the side of the base that adjust the height. Once the base is adjusted, you can install the battery. Any LXT battery will work. The router has a very cool control panel. There are 2 buttons, a start-stop and a lock-unlock button. To operate the tool, you must first unlock it. Once unlocked, the start-stop button operates as you would expect. Depressing the lock button, the start-stop button no longer operates. Now, let's see how easy it is to install a router bit. First step, remove the battery. Router bits can be installed with the base in place. I find it easier to remove the base completely. The router has a built-in spring-loaded shaft lock. You simply press a button with your thumb and a pin locks the shaft in place. This allows you to very easily loosen and tighten the collet. In practice, I find it just as easy to use the 2 wrenches that were supplied. 1 wrench goes on the shaft, the other on the collet. I prefer using the wrenches. It guarantees the bit is installed nice and tight. With the bit firmly installed, we can now reinstall the router base. Bit cutting depth is adjusted by moving the base up and down and then locking firmly in place. Now, let's cut some wood. First up, some pine. A nice, smooth, and straight cut. Next up, the same cut in some hard maple. Again, a nice smooth cut. So what's the verdict on the Makita cordless router? Well, I can tell you, after using it for a few months, I love this tool. First of all, it's really lightweight. Being so lightweight, the advantage is you could use it all day long, take it to the job site, and not get tired while using it. Even with the 5 amp hour battery that I use. Ergonomically, I really like this rubberized grip. It really gives you a nice handhold while you're routing on your material. It's got plenty of power, more power than you think from such a small package. Has plenty of power for its size. It was able to cut through pine, also hard maple. The router has some great safety features too. It has this lock button so that you don't inadvertently turn the router on while placing it down and getting in harm's way. It's a really nice feature. And last but not least, and maybe the most important feature of this cordless router, is that it's part of the Makita ecosystem. I have both the drill and the impact driver, as well as this cordless router, all running on the same family of batteries. So it's a great tool if you're already subscribed to the Makita ecosystem. And if you're just getting started with cordless tools, you really can't beat the Makita LXT family. From drills to impact drivers to saws to the cordless router, there's no shortage of tools that are available, and none of them are a compromise. All that being said, this router is not perfect. There is one issue that keeps popping up. I've only had one issue with this router since I've gotten it, and that's with the collar mechanism, the tightening of the collar to keep it from moving up and down. Even though it feels like it's very tight, sometimes, actually a couple of times that I've been using it, the router began to shift downward and make a deeper cut. So one thing you really need to make sure of is that the nut on this collar mechanism is extremely tight so that it holds the router in place during operation. Right now, it feels like it's very tight, but doing a cut a little while ago, I noticed that the router moved. So it's something you have to be wary of. Overall, I give this router a rating of 9 out of 10. Almost perfect. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe.